Hey George, how are you? I just wanted to ask you a question, George. Are you ever going to tell the truth about what happened in 1974? Are you going to ever tell people the truth about where you got Jedi Knights of the Force from? It's such a shame. Someone could steal candy from a baby, never raise an eyebrow. You know, you've gotten away with it for 46 years now. I started figuring something out. I knew it was after Easter, and so also when you robbed me, I remember was it April the 3rd, 1974, when the big tornado hit Louisville. So establish a timeline here. So April the 3rd was the big tornado, and that year Easter was Sunday the 14th, April the 14th. And I remember that Easter extremely well because we got these really big baskets that year. And it was not long after that we ended up in Florida. So what happened between you and your cousin and me and you, and when he almost killed me in his backyard, it was the same day you got Jedi Knights in the Force with me. That happened between, I have to say, is either, I'm not right before the tornado or right after. So I've got a somewhat of a timeline established here when you got Jedi Knights in the Force. And April the 14th was Easter. And so he got it before we went to Florida. So, and I think we were gone to Florida by May something. And I don't think it was June before, because we were still in the last few days of school when we left. So it had to be May. So somewhere between April the 14th, Easter, and May, the beginning of May, was when Jedi Knights in the Force was the day you had to be calling his house and got me on the phone to steal Jedi Knights in the Force. So there's your timeline. Somewhere between April 14th and somewhere in the beginning of May when we left for Florida is when you called Jack's house and got me on the phone and stole Jedi Knights in the Force. So I have a somewhat of a timeline. I don't have the exact date, but I'll figure it out eventually. And hopefully, maybe someday I'll get some paperwork and figure it out. But we'll see. Around between, because it wasn't much longer that we actually went to Florida, which is where I was when I put, Jedi Knights in the Force on the paper, the piece of paper you stole or your people stole. However you got it. Somebody got it. Somebody who's either you or somebody who's using it to control you, maybe Disney, I don't know. The piece of paper's gone, and so is my sleeve, my document sleeve with all my paperwork from when I was a kid. Just a question, are you going to ever tell the truth? And the question also, and along with that question, I need to tell you a little something that maybe you don't realize, If you wait till after you die to tell the truth, it's too late. Just too late. That's why people who commit suicide are not going to end up somewhere good. Because you can't ask for forgiveness for something until after you did it. And by that time you're dead, it's too late. See, it doesn't work like that. So, you know what? You can lie to people. 46 years. Now listen, people, and this is not to George there, whether he's watching this video or not. This is to you. I came across the paperwork in 1999. In 2000, me and my mother we were going through our paperwork. So it was the end of 99, beginning of 2000. We were going through paperwork. And also she started telling the story. So that's how I ended up back to figuring out what happened in 1974. And to be honest, I know it's hard for some of you to swallow that I completely forgot about it. And I didn't really, because when my father took us to see Star Wars and he was in the cave with Obi-Wan, and he goes, I was a Jedi like your father, or whatever he said. in the cave. I said, "Isn't that my dad?" Was like, "No." And so until that was 1977, I literally stood in the lines for hours and hours to see the movie, just like everybody else. I loved the movies for years, and it really, after my dad said that, I just never really put it together. Never put it together. And you know, we lived with my dad for a very short time because we were back and forth between my parents. They were divorced, and there was a lot going on. Just put it that way. And for us kids, and I have two other brothers, younger and older. And maybe you will never understand how I forgot, but that's not your problem. And the fact of the matter is, I told you the truth. I've got like 20 videos up now. I had 50, but I removed a bunch. I told it because I kept saying the same things over. But now I'm trying to rationalize to people why. First off, that I would never lie about something like that. I wouldn't make up a lie about George Lucas. Or anyone for that matter. That was one of the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not bear false witness, so I wouldn't do it. If he hadn't took Jedi Knights in the Force from me and told me he was going to make me rich and famous, I wouldn't be here making this video today. Or at least I might have, but I might not have as much ground to stand on. The fact of the matter is, he still did it. He took Jedi Knights in the Force from a 7-year-old kid. Told him he was going to make him rich and famous, and then did nothing. Lied. Because I guarantee there had been people around him who said, "Where'd you get that from? Where'd you get Jedi Knights? Where the hell?" I can't imagine what he would have said to him. I can't imagine what they thought when he came up with whatever lie he came up with. It doesn't change the fact. Look, I liked Star Wars until I learned the truth. 20 years after it came out, in 1999, 22 years to be exact, that's when I first came across the paper. I had just went and seen Phantom Menace with a friend of mine. So I'd seen every Star Wars that ever came out until that point, and now I'm disgusted by them. And everything they've done with them since Disney had them, you know what? I wait till they come on cable and watch them, and I just think they're horrible. They're horrible. I think they ruined them. But it doesn't change the fact that he did what he did. You have to accept what you've done, and you have to make amends for it. That's how it works. It doesn't work the other way. You can't wait till you die and then ask for forgiveness. You have to ask forgiveness before you die. I won't go into any deeper subject about that than that, except tell you, he stole Jedi and the Force from a 7-year-old kid. If you all listen to this and you're not hearing the truth, I'm telling you the truth. If you're not hearing it, or if you deny it because you don't like it, you have a problem, okay? But he's got a bigger problem because he's got to explain to God why he did what he did, and he can't do it if he doesn't. He's going to have no ground to stand on, just like I do now, because he stole my evidence. He's going to have no ground to stand on with God because he has no excuse, especially if he doesn't even tell the truth or try to make amends while he's still alive. You can't ask for forgiveness after you're gone. It's too late, okay? The same thing goes for you all. If you love Star Wars and you want to be sheep, that's all on you. But don't be a sheep and don't be naive, okay? You know the truth now. George Lucas stole something from a 7-year-old kid, used it in that movie, made billions of dollars, didn't care, didn't give a darn, And you're just a sheep if you don't think he's a bad guy.